While animated movies might be made for children, the people who make them are definitely adults. And they know that if grown-ups are gonna take their kids to the movies, there better be some jokes in there just for them. In The Secret Life of Pets, the writers and animators slipped in some great moments that flew right over kids' heads just to make the parents laugh. Before we check out these clever moments, consider heading over to our friends over at The Things when we're done. They have a ton of great content, including the best in animation and pop culture. When Max and Duke wind up mistaken for stray dogs and are taken in by animal control, they become entangled with a group of forgotten pets who have taken to the sewers. The rebellious bunny and leader of the flushed pets is none other than Snowball. While that might just seem like an appropriately adorable name for a fluffy white bunny, it's actually a reference that is definitely just for grown-ups. Grown-ups who happen to remember a lot of details about their reading assignments from 11th grade, that is. Snowball also happens to be the name of one of the pigs in the George Orwell novella Animal Farm. If you're unfamiliar, Animal Farm takes place on a farm in which the animals recognize the inequality of their situation and plot to rise up and rebel. The leaders of this revolution are pigs, Napoleon, Squealer, and Snowball, who instigate the plan to overthrow their farm and do away with their owners. While Orwell's book is an allegory about the events leading up to the Russian Revolution and communism gone wrong, and The Secret Life of Pets is a movie about, well, pets, the similarity between the two Snowballs' character traits is too good to ignore. One of the best parts of The Secret Life of Pets is the montage of what exactly these pets get up to as soon as their owners head out for the day. Who hasn't wondered exactly what their dog, cat, budgie, or fish do when we leave for work or school? Well, sure, your fish probably just does fish stuff, but you never know. And just like Toy Story did about our childhood toys, The Secret Life of Pets aims to answer that question. The big gray cat Chloe heads straight for the fridge to demolish a whole chicken, Pops the wiener dog uses the kitchen mixer for a deep tissue massage, and so on. But possibly the best one, and the one that went right over most kids' heads, is what Leonard the poodle does as soon as his owner steps out the door. He immediately switches the radio from classical music to heavy metal. But not just any heavy metal. His song of choice is Bounce by System of a Down. We can't really get into what this song is apparently about, but let's just say it's the kind of thing that you don't usually hear about in family-friendly movies about cute pets. The flushed pets are a pretty hardcore gang of abandoned animals all around. Snowball's bulldog sidekick, for one, is wearing a getup that looks like something that Christian Grey might have in his forbidden closet, if you catch our drift. But a bulldog's business is a bulldog's business. So we aren't asking any more questions about that. And then there's Tattoo, the tatted up pig with a ring through his nose and a couple in his ears. Sure, he seems like just a tough pig, but the reality behind his tattoos is a whole lot darker than meets the eye. While most kids might just think he has some cool ink of his own design, any adult can see that his markings are something a little more sinister. In reality, his tattoos are markings that display the cuts of meat that he would be segmented into by a butcher. And for his sake, we really hope that they were just drawn on with Sharpie and not actual tattoos. Now, while we all love bacon and know exactly where it comes from, something about seeing it printed all over a living creature makes things just a little too real.
Nonsense!
When kids watch animated movies, they pretty much just hear the voices of the characters they love and have a hard time imagining anyone else in the part. But when adults go, they might be surprised to hear some of their favorite actors take on a role that is totally out of the ordinary. The Secret Life of Pets is no different, and the cast is stacked. It's impossible to mistake the voice of Eric Stonestreet, who's famous for his portrayal of Cam in Modern Family, taking on the lovable scruffy dog Duke. And there is no way that any adult won't immediately recognize the voice of comedian-turned-movie star Kevin Hart in the role of the maniacal Snowball. Along with them are Saturday Night Live alumni Jenny Slate as the fluffy and determined Gidget, Dana Carvey as the elderly and hilarious Pops, and Bobby Moynihan as the squirrel-obsessed pug Mel. And the list just keeps going. Comedian Hannibal Buress plays the wiener dog Buddy, legendary actor and comedian Albert Brooks takes on Tiberius the Hawk, Ellie Kemper from The Office and The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt lends her voice to Max's owner Katie, and more. You might think that there would be no way for an animated kids movie to have a connection with the 1991 John Singleton drama Boyz N The Hood, but that's where you'd be mistaken. It's subtle and might have even passed by a few adults out there. But for those in the know, you might have caught the sly and actually pretty tragic reference to the renowned coming-of-age movie that launched the acting careers of Ice Cube and Cuba Gooding Jr. In The Secret Life of Pets, Snowball repeatedly shouts out to his departed friend Ricky, which happens to be a direct reference to the character with the same name from Boyz N The Hood. If you've seen the movie, you know that Ricky becomes a star running back at his high school with high hopes of getting a scholarship to go to university. You also know that his unjust death is one of the most devastating moments of any movie ever. Ricky! So much so that it's become a classic and often referenced scene. Case in point. It's definitely not a joke for the kids in the audience, but a great throwback to an amazing movie.
Tell me you got that!
Oh, heck yes I did!
If you thought that Boyz N The Hood was the only slightly age-inappropriate movie reference to make in The Secret Life of Pets, well, think again, because one more classic bit made it in that we doubt any of the kids in the audience were able to clock. Or if they did spot it, then maybe their parents should think twice about the kind of 1980s gore that they're exposing their kids to. Alien gore, in fact. That's right, there is a very fast but very awesome call out to one of the most famous scenes from one of the most famous sci-fi horror movies ever made, Alien. You know the part we're talking about. During the part where Snowball and the flushed pets can be seen pushing a stroller down the street, the iguana bursts out of the chest area to look around, just like the scene from Alien that haunts our dreams to this day. It is, of course, a lot less terror-inducing than the original that it's paying homage to, but to anyone who has seen Alien, it's instantly recognizable. Thankfully, the iguana doesn't go racing off the way the chestburster does, because nope.
Not exactly out of the manual, is it?
And that's not even the last one. There's one more classic movie reference hidden in The Secret Life of Pets, and this one goes all the way back to 1959. The movie Some Like It Hot starred Marilyn Monroe alongside Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis, who played two stowaway men who dress in drag in order to escape trouble in Chicago and join a women's jazz band in Florida. Of course, things don't go quite as simply as they hoped, and the two men wind up entangled with the locals. Especially Jack Lemmon, whose character has slightly less luck with the ladies. What does this have to do with adorable pets, you ask? Well, in the very end of Some Like It Hot, Jack Lemmon has attracted a suitor who doesn't know his true identity. He tries over and over again to convince the man that he isn't who he believes him to be, but the guy is smitten and just won't listen. When he finally reveals he is in fact a man, the suitor's reply is,
Well, nobody's perfect.
which is the exact same response that Pops gives to Chloe when she tells him that she's a cat.
That's right.
When we first meet the lightly murderous hawk Tiberius, he is hooded in the back of a dark cage on the roof of Gidget and Max's apartment building. After he lures Gidget into his cage and convinces her to set him free, he almost makes her his next meal, but is stopped just in time. Quickly, we realize that he's just a weird bird with some serious social awkwardness, and grow to be pretty fond of the guy. Tiberius is the perfect name for a giant hawk, especially one who starts out as menacing as the one we love from The Secret Life of Pets. And most kids probably saw that movie and didn't think anything else about the name. But adults, especially those who know a little about history, might have recognized the name from somewhere else. Ancient Rome, perhaps? That's right, Tiberius, or Tiberius Caesar Augustus to his friends and family, was the second emperor of Rome, who ruled from 14 to 37 AD. While he started out as a pretty decent and fair ruler, for ancient Roman standards at least, Tiberius is known for having become pretty reclusive and bloodthirsty by the end, eventually being known to historians as a total tyrant.
Is that all you know about him?
If there is one thing that animators love to do, it's call out the other movies that they've worked on. And The Secret Life of Pets is no different. This movie has a ton of references to other animated films that have been produced by Illumination Studios, hidden in the background and sometimes right up front for the audience to find. To start, in the scene with Max in the park, none other than Gru from Despicable Me can be seen casually walking his dog in the background. And the Minions. There are a ton of Minions hidden all over this movie. From the boy who owns the guinea pig's bedside table, to a Minion magnet on the fridge in Katie's apartment, to the Minion costume that Mel wears to Leonard's costume party in the mid-credits scene. We can hear the Pharrell song Happy in the background of one scene, which was written for the Despicable Me soundtrack. When Snowball hijacks a bus to chase down the animal control van, a poster for the Illumination Studios movie Sing can be seen in the back. Funnily enough, Sting wouldn't arrive in theaters until 5 months after The Secret Life of Pets, which makes this bus ad a piece of very clever subliminal advertising.
Ooh, whoa!
While we've already addressed that Snowball's name is a reference to George Orwell's novella Animal Farm, there is one more thing about him that some adults have pointed out that might connect him to another bunny that is not to be trifled with. And that is the White Rabbit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
That rabbit's got a vicious streak a mile wide. It's a killer.
While we can't say for sure that this was planned by the animators, the similarities are too many to ignore. First of all, Snowball and the Monty Python rabbit are both written off as harmless because of their fluffy, adorable appearances. But the second a human tries to approach them, chaos and bloodshed ensues. Some have even said that the way Snowball attacks the animal control guy in The Secret Life of Pets looks just like the way the other terrifying bunny takes on his victims in The Holy Grail. Of course, the animated version is a whole lot less gory, but seeing as how it is a movie for kids, that is probably a good thing. And because Monty Python and The Holy Grail came out in 1975 and has probably not reached much of Generation Z quite yet, it is definitely a reference just for mom and dad.
Now, let's have no more of these useless meetings.
After all of this awesome info, we officially can't wait to see what the upcoming sequel has in store. But first, don't forget to check out our friends over at The Things. They have hours and hours of great videos based on everything pop culture. Hop on over like Snowball would. Did you catch any jokes or hidden meanings that we may have missed? Or did you spot all of these in the theater the first time around? Let us know in the comments, and we hope you enjoyed the video.